KONDOSAN.
Once upon a time, long ago, there lived a lumberjack with his children by the edge of a faraway forest. The son was named Hansel and the daughter was named Gretel. The lumberjack's wife, the children's mother, had died, so they were going through very hard times. As they were also a very poor family, they survived only on the herbs and fruits that they collected from the forest. The children never complained about the situation and always tried to support their father. One day there was a knock on the door, and a woman holding a huge bottle of milk appeared before them.
I've come from the neighbour forest. My house burnt down and I have no place to stay. I've also brought a cow with me. If I give you this bottle of milk and the cow, could I stay with you?
The father and children happily accepted this offer. At least they were now going to have a cow that could give them milk every day. After some time, their father married this woman, yet their impoverished life continued. One night, as the children went to bed, husband and wife started arguing, but Hansel was secretly listening to them.
Look at us. How can we feed the kids like this? I'm helpless. I don't know what else to do.
Well, I actually have an idea that could benefit us all, but I don't know if you'd accept. Tomorrow, let's take the kids to the forest and tell them that we're going to collect wood and we'll light a fire. Give each of them a loaf of bread and leave them there.
Don't be ridiculous. I love my children. How could I abandon them?
Don't worry. They're a lot older now. They can take care of themselves. When our situation gets better, we'll search for them. If not, all four of us will starve to death.
Hansel was a very smart child, so when he heard his stepmother's plans, he secretly left the house to collect pebbles. His mother that had passed away taught him this. She had told him that the shining pebbles at night will show you the way. In the morning, their stepmother woke the children up.
Hansel, Gretel, wake up! We're going to the forest. We need to collect wood for fire.
The first thing Hansel did when he woke up was to put the pebble stones in his pocket. As they walked to the forest, he secretly dropped the pebble stones to the ground. They headed all the way into the depths of the forest. When they stopped to rest, their stepmother and father lit a fire, put some bread next to them, and started to walk away.
Children, you rest a little by the fire. Me and your father will collect some wood and come back.
Their father was very sad, but helplessly he followed his wife towards the path home. He turned his head and looked at his children for the last time.
I will get my kids back at the first opportunity.
Realizing that their stepmother and father would not be coming back, the tired children fell asleep by the fire. When they woke up, it was very late and the moon was glowing brightly.
I'm so scared, brother. What are we gonna do? I don't think anyone's coming to find us.
Don't be scared, Gretel. The pebble stones I left in the moonlight shine brightly. We can follow them and go back home.
The children walked all night long, and finally they arrived at their father's home. The pebble stones had shown them the way. Their stepmother that opened the door stared in surprise.
What were you doing in the forest till this hour? We looked all over for you and couldn't find you. I bet you were being mischievous and hiding somewhere, weren't you?
Thus, pretending and fooling the kids. The father happily hugged his children.
Thank heavens you've come back. My eyes are swollen from crying all night.
But their stepmother wasn't giving up easily. Her only goal was to get rid of the children. She asked them how they had found their way back home, and Gretel told her everything one by one. Now that she knew how they came back home, she locked them in their room that night. That night, Hansel couldn't go out to collect pebble stones. The next day, they went to the forest again. This time, since Hansel didn't have pebble stones, while he was walking, he was dropping the breadcrumbs in his pocket onto the ground. The same thing happened, and the children waited by the fire once again.
I'm so scared, Hansel. It's very dark again. Let's go back home.
Don't worry. I couldn't collect pebble stones, but this time we'll follow the breadcrumbs that I dropped.
But when they set off, there were no breadcrumbs, because the birds had eaten all of them.
But where's all the bread?
They went in and out everywhere, but they couldn't find the way.
No way! What are we gonna do now, Hansel? Think of something, and I'm so cold.
Okay, Gretel, don't worry. First, let's find somewhere to warm up. One way or another, we'll find the way back home.
Both completely frightened and exhausted, they found a hollow tree and got inside to warm up. They fell asleep hugging one another. In the morning, they kept walking around the forest, not knowing where to go. 2 days passed by. Whichever way the kids went, they just couldn't find the way. Later, they saw a bird on a tree branch.
Oh, look! What a beautiful bird! It's as if it wants to say something to us. Do you think it'll show us the right way? Let's follow it.
It was a big, magnificent blue bird. The children, forgetting how tired they were, started following the bird. They saw that the bird had landed on the windowsill of a house.
Wow! What a beautiful house! It's as if the bird is calling us to come.
Come on! What are we waiting for? Let's go! We might find something to eat!
When they approached the house, they were completely baffled. It was a beautiful house made entirely of chocolate, cake, and candy. The windows were made out of cream, and the roof was covered in colourful candies. They started biting away at the house and tearing pieces off.
I'm going to tear off a little from the window side, Gretel. Delicious!
I'm curious about the candies hanging from the roof.
You should taste the doorbell, too.
This way, they filled their bellies with cake, sweets, cream, and chocolate.
Hey! Anyone there?
Yoo-hoo! We're here!
Helplessly, they decided to sit and wait by the door. A little while later, a sweet-faced, lovely woman holding a bag walked into the garden.
Oh, it seems I have guests. Welcome. My bluebird gave me the news a few minutes ago, so I came as fast as I could.
We're sorry. We've eaten a few things from your house without permission, but me and my sister have been really hungry for 2 days.
It's okay. My house is very special. The parts you have eaten grow back right away. Come on, go inside. You must be cold. Also, if you don't have a home, you can stay with me.
That night, she had them sleep in wonderful beds. And the next day, she prepared a delicious breakfast. Actually, this beautiful woman was an evil witch with treacherous plans. When she went to wake up the kids, Hansel and Gretel, who saw a horrifying witch in front of them, were screaming and wanted to escape from the room. But the witch captured Hansel and threw him in a cage and locked the door. She then threw Gretel into the kitchen.
Ha 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 ha! You stupid kids, you fell for my house made of candy. Go on then, cook the meals that you and your brother like. Get fat, so I can feel my belly more when I eat you. Go on and get started.
Since both children were incredibly clever, in order to not get fat, They only ate enough to survive. Gretel threw away the food on her plate when the witch was not looking, and Hansel hid the food in his jacket and trouser pockets.
Gretel, come here. Let's see if you've gotten any fatter.
The witch first picked up Gretel to check her weight.
You're such a skinny girl. You think that by staying like this, you'll manage to free yourself from me?
The witch pulled Hansel from his jacket. As she was checking him from outside the bars, the food in his jacket and trousers fell out. The witch immediately realized what was going on.
You thought you could trick me, huh? I changed my mind. I'm not going to wait until you get fat. I'm going to cook you both in the oven today. Let this be your punishment. Ha 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 ha.
She was so furious that she kept banging herself into things while she was strangling around the house. Because the witch was actually blind. It was then that Gretel realized that the witch couldn't see. She was by the stove, both crying and also planning on how they can escape.
Gretel, come here, quick. Take a look at the big oven in the kitchen. Tell me, is there enough wood inside?
The fire was burning hot, but Gretel tricked the witch.
The fire's about to go out, my lady.
Then throw in more wood. Quick!
That oven door is stuck. I can't open it.
What a useless girl you are. Skinny and useless. Here, it's this simple.
The witch then opened the oven door. The heat of the burning wood hit her face.
What's going on? You said there was no fire.
The witch stretched her hand out towards the oven to understand what was happening. Taking this opportunity, Gretel pushed the witch into the oven with all her might. When the old witch fell into the oven, she closed and locked the door. The witch's screams could be heard from all around.
Help! Help!
Gretel opened Hansel's cage and let him out. Both siblings hugged each other tightly. They were very happy.
My dear sister, well done. We're now saved because of you. Gretel, come on. Let's see if we can find something to use at home before we get out of here.
They wandered around the house together. There was a door to a room that the witch never allowed to be opened. When they opened it, they saw a chest full of jewels.
Let's fill our pockets right away. We'll have jewels instead of food this time.
They quickly got away from the house and entered the forest. It was as if all the paths were familiar. Finally, they saw their house from afar.
Father!
We're here.
The father that opened the door happily hugged his children. He was so happy.
Children, I have some news for you. Your stepmother got ill and passed away. I made a huge mistake by listening to her. Please forgive me. I've missed you so very much. I regret everything.
We've missed you too, Father. We missed our home and beds too. Now we can forget about everything and be together.
They took the jewels out of their pockets and gave them to their father.
Oh.
Their father stared with surprise.
What are these?
We're no longer poor. We're rich.
Father, we have so much to tell you. You have no idea what we've been through.
That night they sat by the fire and chatted till morning. The bad days were left behind, so they all lived a happy and peaceful life. Once upon a time, there lived a carpenter named Geppetto. His wood carvings were very much appreciated by everyone. This carpenter, who was very skillful in his work, loved to make puppets from wood. His shop was filled with these puppets. Sometimes He would sell these puppets and sometimes he would gift them to children. His biggest wish was to have a child.
My dear God, if only I had a child that could play with these toys I make. He could also be a companion to me in the long winter nights.
One day, he went to the forest. He was looking for the appropriate wood for the new puppet he was going to make.
This is just the wood I'm looking for.
He placed the log he had found on his shoulders and headed back to his shop and placed it on his counter. Got to work. Suddenly, he heard a sound.
Ow!
Oh. Where's this voice coming from?
He continued carving again.
Ow!
I think I'm dreaming. The sound can't be coming from the log. I must be imagining things.
Thinking that the voice had come from outside, Geppetto continued working. With great patience and thoroughness, he finished the puppet's head, body, arms and legs. He was admiring his work.
What a beautiful puppet it turned out to be. But it needs clothes and shoes.
He dressed his puppet with the children's overalls and shoes that he had in the shop. It turned out to be such a lovely boy, he placed the puppet on his table.
Since I don't have any children, I can be friends with this puppet. I've even got a name for him. Yes, Pinocchio it is. Your name shall be Pinocchio, little puppet.
He started to clean his counter, but just then heard a sound behind him.
Good evening.
He turned around, but there was no one except the puppet. He continued cleaning.
Hello, Father Geppetto.
Suddenly, Pinocchio jumped from the table to the floor. He started wandering around the shop.
My God! Pinocchio the puppet has come to life.
Surprisingly, his eyes wide open, he was watching him. Pinocchio wasn't human, but he was talking, walking, and playing. Days and weeks passed. Geppetto was so happy. Pinocchio never left the carpenter's shop. He would help him with all his work, and at night, they would sit and chat by the fireplace.
Pinocchio, can you pass the saw?
Of course, Father.
Pinocchio, where are the nails?
Right here.
This way, they lived happily for a couple of years. It was time for Pinocchio to go to school. But they had no money to buy a notebook, a pencil, or a school bag for him. Geppetto had a watch that belonged to his father. He brought this watch to an antique shop, sold it, and gave all the money to Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, this is your money, but I'm giving it to you to buy the things you need for school. Go and buy yourself a notebook, a pencil, and a school bag and head straight to school.
Pinocchio put all the money in his pocket and headed for school. As he was looking at the shops on his way, people noticed him and were staring. "What a strange child with a wooden puppet look," they said. After some time, a huge colourful tent appeared before him. There was a crowd at the door, giving money and going in. With curiosity, he came to the door. There was a clown at the door making people laugh and taking the people who gave him money inside.
Sir, what is this tent? What's inside? Can I go in?
This is a circus. You can't go in if you don't have money.
He remembered the money in his pocket, which his father had given him to go to school.
I have money. Here you go.
He went in. Inside, there was someone on stage that was making the puppets talk and dance.
These are puppets just like me!
With the happiness of seeing someone just like him, Pinocchio jumped onto the stage. The puppeteer that noticed him screamed in shock.
Oh my God, this puppet moves all by himself. I'm going to make so much money out of him. Hey, little one, come here. There's an amazing animal show inside. Do you want to watch?
Really? I sure would. Where? In this room?
Pinocchio, who believed the puppeteer, went into the room. But as soon as Pinocchio went in, the puppeteer locked him in the room. Poor Pinocchio was very, very sad and was crying.
What a big mistake I've made. I spent the school money. I also disobeyed my father, so now I'm in trouble. What am I gonna do now?
A good fairy that saw Pinocchio crying with regret entered through the open window and landed on the table in the room that Pinocchio was in. With her magical wand, sparkling wings and blonde hair, she was a beautiful fairy.
Ooh.
Hi, Pinocchio. Don't worry, I'm going to save you. But first you should tell me everything that's happened. But don't forget, you must tell me the truth.
My dad gave me money to come to the circus, but out of nowhere a man locked me in here.
Pinocchio, whose nose suddenly started growing, was in shock.
Oh, what's going on?
I told you that you need to tell me the truth, Pinocchio. If you lie, your nose will grow even longer.
Pinocchio apologized and told the fairy the whole truth. His nose immediately turned back to normal.
Pinocchio, you regret disobeying your father. Now I'm going to save you from here and give you back your money. Don't make the same mistake again.
You're such a good fairy. Thank you very much. I promise I won't do it again. It was my mistake to enter a circus that mistreats animals in the first place. I'm so ashamed.
The good fairy unlocked the door with her magic wand and took Pinocchio out of the circus. Pinocchio went on his way, singing as he headed to school.
La 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 la.
As he delightfully walked down the road, a sly fox and a crow appeared before him.
What kind of a kid is this? He looks really foolish. He probably has money in his pocket, too. Hey, where are you going?
I'm going to school.
Well, you don't have a notebook, pencil, and a school bag. How can you go to school?
I don't, but my money is in my pocket. I'm going to buy them with this.
The fox and the crow looked at each other and started laughing mischievously.
This is the person we've been looking for. We can trick this dog easily. Oh, this is such a small amount. You can't buy all of them with this. But I know a shop where everything is half the price. If you want, give us the money. We'll run and get all of them for you in a snap.
Plus, you'll have some money left over too.
Oh, really? That would be great. Thank you so much. You're such great friends.
Okay, you sit under this tree and wait. We'll go and bring you what you need.
Pinocchio gave all his money to the fox and crow, sat under the tree and waited. He waited, waited and waited. After a long time, Pinocchio finally realized that he had been tricked. He was thinking sadly about what to do. Suddenly, the good fairy appeared before him again, fluttering her wings.
Haven't you gone to school yet? Why are you here? I hope you don't forget the last time. Please tell me the truth.
Ashamed of having his money stolen, Pinocchio lied again.
I dropped my money out of my pocket.
Pinocchio, whose nose suddenly started growing, was in shock again.
Oh!
I told you to tell me the truth, Pinocchio. If you lie, your nose will get even longer this time.
Pinocchio apologized and told the good fairy the whole truth. Once again, his nose turned back to normal.
Thank you very much. But I still don't have any money to buy a notebook, pencil, and a school bag. I'm so embarrassed.
Since you've told me the truth, the money is in your pocket. But don't lose it again.
As Pinocchio was walking and singing on his way, he suddenly came across the puppeteer from the circus. As soon as he saw Pinocchio, who ran away from the circus, he started to chase him.
Come here, you little naughty puppet.
Pinocchio, while escaping with fear, tripped on a stone and fell straight into the sea.
Help! Help! Help!
But because he was made out of wood, he didn't sink. As he moved his hands and feet in order to not sink, he realized that he was swimming. He liked it very much, so he swam, and swam. But that day, the sea was very wavy. The waves dragged him very far. He was so far out in the sea that he was sleepy from exhaustion, and since he didn't sink, he comfortably fell asleep on top of the water. When he woke up, he found himself in a dark place.
Hey, what's happening? Where am I? What is this place? Ew, it smells awful.
As his eyes got used to the dark, he realized that he was now in the stomach of a large whale. It turns out that a big whale had swallowed him. Geppetto was worried sick about Pinocchio, who still hadn't come back home. He went out to search for him. He asked everyone he came across.
Have you seen a small wooden boy pass by?
He came all the way to the seashore and asked the fisherman.
About an hour ago, a kid fell into the sea around here. He may be your son.
Please give me a boat. I'm going to go out to the sea. I need to find him.
The fisherman gave him a small boat. Geppetto got in the boat and sailed out to the sea.
Pinocchio, my son. Pinocchio, where are you?
The small boat couldn't fight the waves, and when it capsized and flipped over, Geppetto fell into the sea. The whale that had swallowed Pinocchio also swallowed Geppetto. He also didn't understand where he was in the pitch darkness, but Pinocchio saw him and started crying. But Pinocchio saw him and started crying.
Father! Father! You found me! I was so scared!
Pinocchio, my son, my son.
Forgive me, Father. I will never disobey you again.
Okay, Pinocchio, we'll talk about this at home. Now let's search for a way to get out of here.
Father, I'm going to try something. I hope we succeed. Good fairy! Good fairy! Can you hear me?
The waves carried his voice all the way to the good fairy's ears.
My God! This is Pinocchio's voice!
The fairy flew towards his voice and appeared inside the whale's stomach where they were.
Pinocchio, you are truly regretful, and I will help you one last time.
When she touched them with her magic wand, they found themselves at the shore. After that day, Pinocchio became a very smart kid. He always listened to his father. He was going to school and helping his father just like the old days. The good fairy tested Pinocchio from time to time. She knew that Pinocchio did not lie anymore and that he always listened to his father. She said, now is the perfect time, and one night she turned Pinocchio into a real child while he was sleeping. The next day, when Pinocchio woke up, he felt a little strange. His heart was beating and he felt blood flowing throughout his body. He was no longer made of wood, but was a real child. He ran straight to his father.
Father! Father! Look how much I've changed!
My God, my prayers have been answered. I now have a real son.
After that day, they lived happily ever after. Pinocchio was now a child to be proud of.